Gentle Shepherd, come and lead us, for we need you to help us find our way. Gentle Shepherd, come and feed us, for we need your strength from day to day. There's no other we can turn to who can help us face another day. Gentle Shepherd, come and lead us, for we need you to help us find our way. His name is wonderful. His name is wonderful. His name is wonderful. Jesus, my Lord. He is the mighty King, Master of everything. His name is wonderful. Jesus, my Lord. He's the great shepherd, the rock of all ages. Almighty God is He. Bow down before Him, love and adore Him. His name is wonderful. Jesus, my Lord. He's the great shepherd, the rock of all ages. Almighty God is He. Bow down before Him, love and adore Him. His name is wonderful. Jesus, my Lord. Gentle Shepherd.
We are well into the hurricane season. It will continue for 4 more months. To be sure, the danger will not be consistently great that entire time. August and September are the real nail-biters for those of us who live in Florida and other southern states on the Gulf or on the ocean. And hurricanes seem to attract a lot of attention. Just look at the constantly rising flood insurance premium rates, even though we have not been hit with a serious storm for a good many years now. While others who seem to get hardly noticed have experienced all kinds of disasters: floods, landslides, earthquakes, fires, avalanches, explosions, tornadoes, tsunamis, and war in just about every sector of the globe. Now, except for war and a few of those explosions, the one who most often gets blamed for the bad stuff that happens to us is God. Even the insurance companies, when they don't want to pay, and of course they never want to pay, try to get away with passing the buck. Indeed, they have a special designation to explain such action or lack of action on their part. They call these incidences and events acts of God. The problem for them and for us is that we haven't been sending those premium payments to God. So usually the companies have to pony up, but only if we have the right kind of insurance and enough of it. Acts of God. Poor God. And it doesn't end with him just getting blamed for virtually every natural disaster that comes down the pike. No, he also gets blamed pretty much for everything that goes wrong in our lives, whether or not they were the result of our stupidity, or greed, or jealousy, or hatred, or you just name it. Pick your favorite human negative characteristic. We seem to think that God deliberately sends disasters to hurt us or to punish us, that God picks and chooses who gets blessed and who gets blasted, that God has nothing better to do than send a cyclone here and erupt a volcano there. Beyond that, when we're not accusing him of causing problems, we're wondering why he doesn't prevent or solve them. We've all heard the plaintive cries and perhaps even voiced them ourselves from time to time. God, why did you let this happen to me? Why didn't you prevent such and so from occurring? How can you let the world get so messed up? Why don't you do something? Is that your image of God? The willful causer of disasters or the nonchalant ignorer of problems? Perhaps God just needs some better PR. Greta Reed sent me a piece from the New Yorker magazine, which I would like to share with you at this point. It was written by John Windolf, and while I have somewhat modified it to express some of my thoughts, most of the words are his. The article concerns a conversation between God and the public relations man that God is considering hiring to do some work for him. And as you'll see, I'm playing the part of the PR man, and God is right over there by the lectern. Wow, you're here. It's really great to see you. So, do you prefer to be called God or?
I'm partial to Yahweh, actually.
Well, Yahweh it is then. Can I get you something? Coffee, water? We got Pellegrino if you like the bubbles.
I'm good.
Can you make that a little louder over there, Ronnie? Thank you. Sorry we couldn't do this yesterday, but as I texted you, my kid, well, I had to do a thing.
I understand completely.
Please, tell me what it is you're looking for.
Where to begin? Well, in recent years, it seems my image has somewhat taken a beating. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I don't know if that kind of thing is subjective.
Come on, it's me.
Well, now that you mention it, I suppose I do know what you mean.
Fewer and fewer people believe in me. And the ones that do, well, let's just say a lot of them aren't doing me any favors.
Fair enough. But why us?
Why you?
There are plenty of other publicity firms in town, some of them bigger than our shop.
You want me to explain why I'd like to hire you?
That's it.
I sort of thought you would be courting me.
Well, we have a deep roster of clients as it is, so.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your firm is one that people got to believe that food served from trucks and street carts is better than what they have in restaurants.
Yes, that was one of our better ones.
And the whole digital thing, that was impressive. You got everyone to tether themselves on these electronic devices. They're slowly driving themselves insane, but they tell themselves they like it.
Yep, that was us. Thanks for noticing.
And then there's Twilight. You did a pretty terrific job with that one.
Listen to you with the flattery.
Iraq, Afghanistan, there was not a single meaningful anti-war protest in the U.S. that I can recall. Amazing.
Now, that was actually another firm, but I'll pass along the compliment.
And yoga. That was really...
Well, that one took off on its own, believe it or not.
Seriously?
I'm as surprised as you are.
Given all that, I figured you might be able to help me with my problem.
Well, let me just say first, it's great to have a potential client who's so up on what we do. You really did your homework, Yahweh, and we're delighted you're considering us. If you don't mind, though, I'd like to go over a couple of things. Just the basics like, let's take the Bible for one.
What about it?
I'm wondering how you'd like to handle it.
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Well, one chapter, it's an eye for an eye, and then it's all turn the other cheek, guys. See what I'm saying?
I don't have a problem with the seeming contradictions.
I hear you, but us humans, we hate that stuff. And then there's what's called a problem of evil, which is a lot of your image problem here. Let's take the recent hurricane. Storms blew in from the sea, people are killed, others are left homeless, and there you are, distant la-di-da, seemingly unconcerned. All due respect, it makes you seem like a bit of a jerk. Look, this is the process. We need to get everything on the table right from the start. But I'll back off if it's making you uncomfortable. Listen, it was a pleasure meeting you, but I think we may not be on the same page.
No, you're right. I probably need to hear this, so go on, let me have it.
I'm thinking it would be nice if we can find a way to explain away the historical calamities and tragedies, the Holocaust, various famines, the whole Rwanda thing, tsunamis, Stalin. And then on a more everyday level, well, all of us humans know we're going to die. It's not like it's some big secret, which is depressing, you have to admit.
So you're saying people find death depressing?
Hello?
What if people got to focus more on the good stuff?
Like what? I'm all ears. Because I have to say, I'm not really seeing too much good stuff from where I'm sitting. Take me. This morning I'm in traffic 20 minutes. The cars are not moving. Or take this. You buy a place and you think you have a decent investment, but then the market crashes and the property taxes go up. So you tell me, what exactly is this good stuff you want me to push on the populace?
Life itself.
Could you maybe be a little more specific?
Well, you, right now, being alive, as opposed to never having existed.
You see this? What you're doing right now? I hate to say it, but you have a tendency to do this with the mystical business, which hasn't played very well ever since the late 60s.
I'll demonstrate what I mean. This moment, you're alive, correct?
Yeah, sure. At least I think I am.
Don't laugh. It's not funny. And now, this moment, you're dead.
I am. Oh, I see. I get it. A little divine humor. Wait, why do I seem to be drifting out of my body?
You had a heart attack, and your assistant is calling for help, but it's too late.
Jesus.
Hey.
Sorry.
Would you mind recommending another firm for me? I was hoping to get this done soon.
I don't know. This is a lot to process. Maybe try Edelman.
Never heard of them.
That's how good they are. They're down on Hudson Street.
Sounds good. I'll see that you get a better break in the afterlife.
Gee, thanks.
Watch the sarcasm.
But you got to understand, 1 minute I'm alive and it's beautiful. I could look around, I could breathe the air. It was city air, but still. You know what I had for breakfast today? A bagel, toasted, with chives and the cream cheese.
This is what I was hoping you might be able to convey, but you couldn't see any upside.
Maybe you could reverse things, specifically my situation, as a favor, because now I can see the campaign, thrilling, positive stuff.
It's too late.
Don't I get to go back, another go-around?
You mean reincarnation? Nope, you had your turn.
That was it?
That was it.
Nuts. It went by fast.
You liked it though, right?
Yeah, sure, it was great, except the ending.
All right, so I'll check with this Edelman place, and I'll see what they come up with.
Now that column was written tongue-in-cheek, obviously, but I wonder how far-fetched it really is. If we blame God for creating and sending what we consider to be the bad stuff, or at least blame him for not preventing it, and rarely if ever see that there is so much good stuff in the world for which we ought to be grateful, well, maybe he needs a good PR campaign to set the record straight and get us to thinking along more positive lines. I think we all need to be a bit more like our psalmist who praised God for his wonderful works and his amazing love. The same psalmist who in other songs recognized that God is there to support and encourage, not to cause or intervene. Much of the problem stems from our image and expectations of God, and our reactions when that image is not authenticated and those expectations are not realized. John Fitz, a former chaplain at Morton Plant North Bay Hospital, puts this dilemma in perspective. He writes, I asked God to take away my habit. God said, no, it is not just for me to take it away, but for you to give it up. I asked God to make my handicapped child whole. God said, no, his spirit is whole. His body is only temporary. I asked God to grant me patience. God said, no, patience is a byproduct of tribulations. It isn't granted, it is learned. I asked God to give me happiness. God said, no, I give you blessings. Happiness is up to you. I asked God to spare me pain. God said, no, suffering draws you apart from worldly cares and brings you closer to me. I asked God to make my spirit grow. God said, no, you must grow on your own, but I will prune you to make you fruitful. I asked God for all the things that I might enjoy life. God said, no, I will give you life so that you may enjoy all things. I asked God to help me love others as much as he loves me. God said, you finally have the idea. If God were to ask you the question posed by the sermon title, So, what do you think of me? How would you answer? And if God were to ask you to list all the good in your life and in your world, what would you say? The greatest gift imaginable is life itself, isn't it? Then it becomes a matter of how we use it and how we appreciate it, despite the obstacles and difficulties that inevitably come our way. And those decisions are up to us, don't you think?